Hi, and congratulations on your 2020 Nissan Altima S. I know this is our entry-level model, but there's nothing entry-level about it. We got a lot of features in this vehicle to go over to refresh your memory on what you get. Hopefully at the end of this, you're comfortable with your vehicle, but if you still have any questions at the end of this, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can call, text, or email. My contact info will follow. Here on our infotainment system, we've got a beautiful 8-inch touchscreen display. Everything is really nicely laid out. I can see if I click on source, I've got AM, FM satellite, which is free for the first 3 months. USB 1 and 2, which we see down below. There is a Type-C port and a traditional port. So your USB 1, which is your Type-C, is very familiar for any Android user, but for an Apple user, there is a cord that you can get that has a Lightning port on one end and a Type-C port on the other end. It will charge your phone faster. Both of those ports will interact with the vehicle for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well. You also have Bluetooth streaming, auxiliary, and once you've connected your phone, Apple CarPlay or Android Auto would show up here as well. We're going to hop back out a screen. We're going to go into our settings. To add a phone, you're going to go in the settings, you're going to hit connections, and then you're going to hit add new. From there, you're going to go into your phone in these settings, and then into Bluetooth settings, and you're going to look for My Altima at the bottom of the list. Once that shows up, just tap on that. It'll pop up with a number. Just make sure that the number matches up and hit pair. If you have an Apple phone, you're going to need to hit allow once after that to sync up your contacts. If it's an Android phone, it could be 1 or 2 allows that you need to hit to sync up your contacts. From there, you can just simply back out. Now, if you do have an Android phone, there is an additional step you need to take if you have a lock screen on your phone, where you need to back out to the main settings on your phone, go down to your security settings, look for smart lock, then you're going to go in and you're going to add a trusted device and you're going to add My Altima. If you don't do this, once you get into the vehicle and your phone locks, it will disconnect from the vehicle itself. So make sure that you do this. To adjust my clock from the settings, I can just go into clock, set clock manually, and then I can see everything's all set right here. If I make an adjustment on this screen, it will change up here. It will also change over on my driver assist display. So I'm going to back out. Now I keep hitting this back button here. There is a physical back button down below here as well. That's our system right there. Down below we've got our climate control. So I've got my fan speed here. I've got my temperature over here, which I'm going to change all the way to cool because it's already 14 degrees out at 8:47 a.m. It's a beautiful day here. And then I can pick and choose where my airflow is going to go. If I want to put it up on the front, it's up on this top line. My rear defrost is right here. That will also activate your heated side mirrors. Then we have heated seats. So as I mentioned, even though this is an entry level, it is very well equipped. So we've got our heated seats right here as well. And then down below here, I have my parking brake. It is an electronic parking brake. If I pull up, I can very slightly hear it in the back. It engages, it turns right here, and it gives me my indicator up here. Now to turn it back off, I'm going to just push here and it pops up and tells me I need my foot on the brake. So I'm going to do that and push down and it turns it back off. So that is my parking brake. There's a little button on the back of the steering or the gear shift I want you to notice here. So if I'm in drive and I push that button, I'm now in sport mode. Sport mode is going to give me a little more torque. I'm going to have a little more responsiveness from the motor. I'm also going to rev a little higher on my RPMs. This is if you're losing your passing lane, want to get out and around somebody in a hurry. Just don't forget to take it back out of sport mode as it is harder on your gas. On my steering wheel here, my phone button is going to allow me to answer a call or hang up. My voice recognition button will allow me to make an outbound call, or if I press and hold on that, it will access the voice recognition system on my phone depending on the type of phone that I have. This button is going to turn on my cruise control, which I see shows up right up here, and then I've got my settings for my cruise control. On the left side of my wheel, I've got my volume for the radio.
Where our country is down on its knees.
These two buttons here on the bottom, if I'm on AM, FM, or satellite, they are going to take me through my presets, which I can also see here on my home screen. If I'm streaming through Bluetooth or USB, they're going to skip tracks. My OK button with the arrows around it is for my driver assist display screen. Now right now I'm on the home screen where I have a digital speedometer as well as my radio info. Now to the right of my digital speed, I can see a little up arrow and a down arrow. So I'm going to hit the down arrow here on my steering wheel. And it takes me to a digital speedometer and my average speed. Now I'm going to press and hold the OK button to reset that. And I'm just going to go back to the screen that we were previously on. There is a blank screen there as well. We're going to remove that in a moment, and I'm going to show you how. Our next screen to the right is our fuel economy, which is running really, really high, but we're going to see why in just a moment. So in 9 hours and 32 minutes, we've gone 55.5 kilometers. So I'm going to press and hold to reset this. And now I'm going to go back and press and hold the OK button to reset my average fuel economy. But that is why we were running so high. I can see all of my radio info from here. And the beauty of this is I now have total control of everything to do with my audio, all with the push of a thumb while I'm driving when I'm on this screen. So we've already seen I've got my volume buttons here. I've got my buttons to go through my presets or skip tracks here. And when I'm on this screen, I can press the OK button to change the source of my audio, and it gives me a list. So I can simply tap down, press OK, and I'm now over on satellite radio. If I do it again, I can then go back to whatever. Now we notice in the list, there's AM, FM, satellite, and auxiliary. The moment you connect a Bluetooth device or anything to the USB ports, those become options as well. I'm going to hit my back button here to get back out of there. Our next screen over to the right is for my safety features. I do have automatic emergency braking with forward collision warning. So your automatic emergency braking, if you're driving along the highway and the car up ahead of you slams on the brakes inside the vehicle here, it's going to beep at you and it's going to push back against your foot with the gas pedal a little bit. Although you're likely not going to notice this because your foot's going to be moving from the gas to the brake. But if it doesn't move across fast enough, and trust me, it does happen, then the beeping gets louder and faster, and if necessary, it will start to apply the brake for you. Your forward collision warning is the first stage of that. So if I'm driving along just down a local road, and I'm doing 50 kilometers an hour, car up ahead of me is turning into a driveway or down a side road, and they're down to about 10 rounding that turn. As soon as the radar in the front of the vehicle picks up the fact that they're there and we're now closing that distance really fast, inside the Altima here, it's going to beep at me, and then as they finish rounding that turn, the beeping stops and we continue on and nothing else ever happens. Our next screen to the right is our settings. So there is a few settings that we're going to change inside here. The first one that we're going to do is go down to vehicle settings. And then from there, I can see all kinds of info in here. But I want to go down to locking, and I want to go to auto door unlock. By default, Nissan vehicles will automatically unlock the vehicle when you turn the ignition off. With this one, we've set it so that the moment you shift into park, it will turn the ignition off for you. So I'm going to back out of here. 2 screens, I'm going to go to wipers. I'm going to turn on speed dependent. This means that when my intermittent wipers are on, if I'm driving around locally, the time delay that's on them, as soon as I loop out to the highway and go faster, that time delay will shorten without me touching anything. It's not a significant difference, but it is enough to notice. So I'm going to press the back button again, and I'm going to come back once more. I want to go into maintenance. And then oil and filter. Let's make sure that this is set for 8,000 kilometers. Nissan recommends that you do your service every 8,000 kilometers or every 6 months, whichever hits first. So once that's set, and you can do so just by pressing the OK button and then up or down. And then we'll hit the back button to come back out. Anytime that you hit 8,000 kilometers, it will pop up and tell you maintenance and oil filter. Just call your service department, book in an appointment. Once they've switched it, then they'll go in and they'll reset that for you. We're going to go into customize display because we saw we had a blank screen there. So this is where I can pick and choose which of all of these screens show up. Now I'm going to tap down and there's blank. I'm going to press the OK button right there because I want to remove this. It's pointless. This screen was designed for future purposes for extra features that may come on the vehicle. From there, I can have a look and I can see all the different screens that are selected. And as I mentioned, you can turn them on or off. I'm going to hit the back button to back out of here. and we're back to our main settings. I'll go one over to the right to put us back where we started. Down on the left here, we have a couple buttons. I have my trunk release button here. My fuel release is down below here. When my headlights are on, I've got my dash brightness here. So I can see right there, I can adjust it. Now my trip reset. We saw that we had a trip odometer, a couple screens over here. However, if I look down at my odometer, I can see 69 kilometers an hour. Well, with this, I'm going to press the trip reset, and there is another trip odometer there. I'm going to press and hold trip reset to reset it. Do it again to get to trip B. So you do have 3 trip odometers on your vehicle. Makes it very easy to operate. The last thing I want to go over with you here is your key fob. So on the bottom of this, we have our panic button or find my car in a parking lot. We have a trunk release, unlock, lock, and you do have remote start on the entry level. So to work your remote start, you're going to hit the lock button, then hold the top button for 5 seconds. It will remote start your vehicle from up to 200 feet away. From there, it's going to run for up to 10 minutes. If you don't get in and engage the vehicle within 10 minutes, it will turn it off. To engage the vehicle, you simply do the exact same thing that you do to start it. You put your foot on the brake and you press the start button. If you're running behind and you want to extend that time, simply do the same thing again. So hit the lock, hold the top button for 5 seconds. It will add 10 minutes to the count from wherever you're at. So if you're getting the kids ready to go out, you're running behind, it's been running for 8 minutes, you do that, it'll now run to the 18-minute mark. If you try and do it right away to try and get ahead of the system, so I remote start it and I do it again right away, it's now going to run to the 11-minute mark, and that's it. You can do 2 remote starts or 1 remote start with an extension without ever getting into the vehicle. But after that, it will not let you do it again until you get in and engage the vehicle. If you change your mind, you're not going anywhere, press and hold the top button for 2 seconds. It will turn your Altima back off. Now, because it's a key fob, there is a battery inside, and that battery typically lasts 2 to 4 years, depending on usage. When you get a low battery, it will tell you up here on the screen, low key fob battery. Or you may go to start it by putting your foot on the brake, hit the start button, and it'll pop up and say incorrect key ID. If that happens, let that message go away, give it a moment, try and restart the vehicle. It should start at that point, but it is time to get a new battery. If you hit the point where it's just not starting, take the Nissan emblem with your foot on the brake, put the Nissan emblem directly against the start button, and use that to push the button in. Even though the battery is dead in your fob, it will still start the vehicle. Now, if your battery is dead, you still need to get into the vehicle. So on the back of your key fob is a little switch, and the key here is for the driver's side door. It's the only door that has a keyhole in it. Once you get in, again, put the key fob against the button and use that to start it. From there, you're going to want to go get a battery. For your battery, get something flat into one of these 2 recessed areas, give it a little twist and pop it open. You'll see the battery inside looks like a watch battery, only larger. The number on the battery is the battery size. They're about $6 or $7 at any big box store or drugstore. I don't recommend the dollar store batteries. They do work, but they usually only last 3 or 4 months. You're better off paying the extra to get a good battery that's going to last another 2 to 4 years. If you take it into your dealer, they will check it at the parts department for you. They'll test the battery, they'll make sure everything's working, and then they'll put it all back together with a new battery for you. Congratulations again on your 2020 Nissan Altima S. As I mentioned in the beginning, this is our entry-level model, but there's nothing entry-level about it. You've got heated seats and remote start and a ton of other features with this. It's a truly amazing vehicle to drive. It's an all-wheel drive vehicle. It's comfortable, and the gas mileage is amazing. I know you're going to love the vehicle, but if you still have any questions after going through all of this, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. You can call, text, email, or stop in to O'Regan's Nissan on 60 Baker Drive in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and we're more than happy to help you with anything that we can. I look forward to working with you when it's time for your next vehicle.